Welcome to the Film Slice podcast, where movie talks happen. Hi everyone, my name is Angus. With me I've got my co-host, Jordan Cane Diggity Cane Dogs.
Jordan is fine.
Jordan
you can
is
call me
fine.
Jordan.
And Brody Broadman Broadmeister Richards. How you
That's
going,
his
guys?
full name.
Yeah, pretty good. Brody's
I'm-
fine for me as well.
This is a brand spanking new podcast that, spanking.
Still
Okay,
shiny.
Not okay with spanking?
No, it's fine.
Okay, well, we're
Roll
still
with it.
so we're still going to sort out the rules of the podcast, which I feel like the first segment
I
is
feel
going
like we
to
just
be
we
about.
vetoed spanking. That's never mind.
Yep.
Continue.
Yeah, I second
maybe.
that, Jordan.
Okay, yep.
All right.
Take it to a vote.
Pull your pants back up.
Oh, this is going to be a bitch to edit.
Yep. Good luck. By the way, Angus is editing. Me and Jordan just
We
just sit
don't
around.
care. Yep.
Yeah. Don't care. We can do anything.
We can do anything.
Yes, so we should mention that this is our very first podcast and also our very last of the year.
And our last podcast, if all goes terribly.
Definitely
Very
the
last
first
one, yeah.
one. We didn't record one before this. This is the first one. Yes.
Do we want to go through the rules
Of the podcast.
Of the
Podcast?
podcast? Yeah, I feel like we should.
Sure.
Alright, before we get into the film, maybe.
Swearing.
Go for it.
Yep,
Fuck yes.
Fuck, all right.
Yep.
So, any little kiddies that just heard that little one, maybe just pop this off and
Yeah. Make sure you
listen
repeat
to
those
something
words
else.
to your parents.
Yes.
Unless, of course, you swear in front of your kids, in which case it's probably fine.
And spoilers. How do we feel about spoilers?
We'll turn them on and off when we're going to talk about it, I guess.
Yeah. We'll do spoiler free at the beginning, and then we'll tell you when there's going to be spoilers. So, if you
And
haven't
if
seen
we
the film or if you care about that
accidentally
thing,
drop a spoiler, we're sorry.
So, future Angus, make sure you get a cool sound effect to let the listeners know that spoilers on.
oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
All right, we're talking Jumanji. Broadman, you and me saw it
Yeah, saw it about an hour ago.
about
You
an
guys
hour
saw it
ago.
together.
Cane Dogs.
I saw it last night. I have the advantage
You've
of
had a bit
having-
more time.
I've thought about the movie a bit.
All right, I think it's time to move on to our first segment.
Did you like
What are your reaction to the film in one word? Go. Cane Dogs.
Fine.
You have first.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
enjoyable.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Broadman's with enjoyable. I'm gonna go with hip.
Hip.
Ooh.
Yes.
I'm almost going to disagree with you with that word.
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't feel new to me in any way.
I said hip in the way that an old person tries to stay hip with the young kids.
Right. So,
Yeah.
in the way that this is a movie made for potentially gamers, but they sort of don't know what gaming is anymore.
It's yeah.
A little
It's
bit.
old people
I
trying to
will
make
say
something
though,
for
they
kids.
they got most of the gaming references right.
They did okay.
Which is something that doesn't happen a lot in films. Usually they're
feel
like, oh,
like-
game, that's like such a super nerdy thing. It was the nerd who played a lot of games. But they were all into like playing their games.
It wasn't...
So it wasn't like this kind of...
They didn't really miss the mark on making those references. I do feel like they missed a lot of opportunity to make more references, though, to delve a little deeper, considering that's what they were going with.
I thought it was surprisingly good. I went in and I was
Yeah.
like, this is just another Hollywood remake. We've
That's
seen so many
what
of
I
these. It's
thought.
going to be terrible.
Yeah.
It's like, it's going to be... And because it's a comedy, a lot of the jokes aren't going to land. It's going to be terrible. But then in there, all the jokes seemed to land. It was really strong performances from the four of them. I think they all sold their characters. A lot of them were
Yeah.
playing very different characters for who the actors were. They were all playing younger versions of themselves.
And I
in a
think
way.
that's their shtick, is they're playing opposite of their stereotype.
I think
Yeah.
well, Jack Black
That
was
was
really good.
Jack Black was weirdly good.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, Kevin Hart really strong as well. I've seen I wasn't too sure about Kevin Hart. I've seen I've enjoyed his stand up, but every time I see him in a film, I'm always kind of like
I don't like Kevin
yeah,
Hart.
yeah. I'm always
in
like kind of like on the
films.
fence.
He was in. Did him and Dwayne Johnson do Central Intelligence? Was that?
Yeah.
I hated that movie, and I thought when I saw these two, like doing press conferences and stuff, I'm like, this is going to be another Central Intelligence sort of slapstick comedy.
I also feel like a lot of the films we watched as kids, a lot of the kind of comedy and family films, they didn't rely on a lot of comedy that was kind of verbal.
Yes,
it was usually,
yeah.
It was usually like it was just funny stuff happened to people.
Well, obviously playing.
But I
off-
feel like that's different in modern Hollywood. They try to do a funny line,
Yes.
and it doesn't come across.
I think that's
And I
2017
thought that
humor.
was different. I thought that was different in this film. I felt like they did quite a lot of funny lines, and funny things happened to everyone.
I think jokes actually landed in this movie, which I was surprised about. Which is like
Same.
when I said the movie's fine, I think it did exceed my expectations, but my expectations were that it would be really bad. So
Okay.
by fine. I don't think this is a great movie. I think I enjoyed it more than I thought I would because I thought I wouldn't enjoy it.
Did you guys go into it trying to remember the first Jumanji?
A little bit, yeah.
I sort of have a pretty decent memory of the first movie. Yeah, I grew up watching that movie like that was like the Santa Claus. Like I watched that movie religiously for a while.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Cane Dogs, but was the first Jumanji a lot darker than this one? I feel like the first...
It had darker elements, but I think it's one of those things where early childhood movies, if you actually go back, a lot of them are darker than you might actually remember, or actually maybe less darker in that these days everything is so censored with what is allowed to be said or what tones they may be a little too dark to put in films. Back then they weren't so worried, so I think the first Jumanji was... It does have darker things where, like, if you were to watch that, or if I were to explain to you some of the things that happen in the Jumanji movie without context, it's really dark. Like, there's a kid who slowly gets turned into a monkey. Straight up from the beginning, Robin Williams comes out and he realizes that everybody he knows and loves is dead. And then they just sort of, like, dwell over that really quickly, though.
Yeah.
But I think you're right, it is a darker film, but they don't dwell on any of it. You sort of... If you were to watch it now, you'd be like, that's really dark. But when you watched it as a kid, you didn't think about it. And the reason I brought up the Santa Claus is because I watched that the other day, and that film starts with Tim Allen killing Santa Claus by pushing him off a roof. Like, you don't think about it.
That's a great way to look at that film.
Like, you don't think about it, but it literally starts and the kid's like, you killed him.
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, Angus, because we watched it together about an hour ago.
Yes.
And we just walked out of the cinema and we're just like, we can't talk about this until we start recording.
The weirdest feeling.
Yeah, we just walked out in complete silence.
Yeah.
Just side by side. Just complete silence.
My thoughts. I definitely came into it with low expectations. I think because you come in with the low expectations, there's nowhere to go but up. And I think that this movie actually did go up there. I think it took a while to settle in for me. The start was a bit rough. I wasn't really with the younger actors at the start.
No, I'd agree with that.
I was definitely waiting for the main stars. Like, I don't really know these actors. I don't really feel any empathy or anything towards the characters. I don't think there was a lot of character development during the start.
Not a lot of time with them, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say even towards the start of when the main stars did come in, it did still take a while to kind of settle in because of that idea of them being the opposite of their stereotype cast. I was like, oh, they're just kind of playing it. So I didn't quite believe it at the start, but the more that they kept it up, the more comfortable it became and everything. So I feel like it's definitely a movie that you have to sit through.
Is anyone else sick of stereotypes yet?
Oh man,
well, I got sick of them like 10 years ago.
Well,
they're still going with them.
I think they didn't do a bad job with this one, actually. I sort of believed...
It wasn't too bad, but then I remember being in high school, I don't remember seeing those stereotypes very much.
Not as much.
Everyone was just kind of some amalgamation of all of them.
That's real life, I suppose, is that no one
I've never really enjoyed or bought those stereotypes when I've seen them in a film.
I feel like this movie plays off those stereotypes.
I think it does a good job.
I think it uses that to its advantage. So you kind of understand because it's movie tropes at this.
This certainly plays off. I think the good thing that made this film sort of refreshing is it actually it almost knew it almost knew that you'd go in expecting a shit film, and then it played off of that a little bit. It knew that we were going to watch this being like, oh, stereotypes are unbelievable, and then it sort of broke those down a little bit.
It's definitely not going to win any awards.
No, it's not that type of film, but I think it's the sort of film where it'll be someone's favourite movie for a week.
Okay, so before we hit spoilers, would you go back and see it again?
I was actually toying with coming with you guys again this morning and seeing it, but I didn't really want to see it twice just in case it actually ruins my first impression. I came out of the film enjoying it. And I think that's because, as you said, I went in there with low expectations and it surprised me. I think if I saw it a second time, expecting to get the same enjoyment, I think there'd be parts that are drag.
I think I'd recommend it. If someone hasn't seen it and they want to spend a couple of hours maybe with some friends or whatever, I'd recommend it as it's fun. It's nothing too deep and it's nothing too kind of flaky. It's kind of It's like somewhere in the middle
Well,
there.
that was the question I was actually going to pose to you guys, because my parents, whom you both know, they're in their 60s now, were asking
Bloody
whether
great people.
bloody
legends. I love them.
They raised me. They were asking
Kinda
whether
raised
they'd enjoy it, and I was sort of like, my parents aren't great at grasping my analogies of films, because me being like, look, it's the kind of film where you laugh, but it won't change your life, and mum and dad are like, wait, I don't get it. So, do you guys think anybody? What age bracket do you think is too old to enjoy this? Where do you think this film is largely going to hit?
Yeah, so Jordan, your question is, what demographic is this film for?
Yeah.
True, but I'm also knowing my parents. I know this is not really for other viewers. Do you for the parents that?
For the listeners out there,
So
do you
what
think
is-
Jordan's
do you
parents,
think my
will
parents-
enjoy Jumanji,
To be fair, a lot
knowing
of
nothing? And now we're going to spend an hour explaining Jordan's parents
The
in
intricacies of my
intricate
parents.
detail.
just straight yes or no. Do you think I should recommend it to my folks?
Yes.
No.
Okay, that's what I thought might happen there. So, what do you think the demographic is then?
It's not really a spoiler because it has no context, but there's dick jokes in it, which I know your dad will love.
The reason I said no is because I feel like this is a family film that probably a lot of people will take their kids to.
There were a lot of kids
But
in the thing with me.
there's a lot of stuff that parents might enjoy. But I just feel like your parents can spend their time better.
Do you want to touch on? Do you want to hit spoilers?
Yeah, I think we should hit spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah, just-
sound
let's
effect.
move on.
Just to sum up spoiler free, I'm recommend this. I reckon you should go see it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay,
I
nice.
recommend it.
I would say go and see it once. Don't expect to go see it multiple times. Go see it once. And I would also recommend don't watch the first Jumanji straight before.
Okay, do you think any children will grow up remembering this film? So
No.
anybody that was born this year or next year or last year, do you think any of them will grow up talking about this film?
No.
No.
Anyone will grow up being like, oh, I was raised in that movie? No?
No. And I think
Me either.
what I was gonna pose the question after we did the spoilers, but maybe I'll pose it to you now. Did the movie have to be called Jumanji?
No.
No, I thought that when I saw the trailer,
That's-
actually.
That's just to get people in the door.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
thought
That's-
that, yeah.
Yeah.
When I saw the trailer, I was like, look, this would be a great idea, but I think they ruined it by calling it Jumanji.
I think we should get into spoilers.
Yeah, probably
Let's move
true.
into spoilers. Angus, future Angus, hear
Make
me.
Make a spoiler thing. Or a time like that.
That's gonna be it.
Just grab that by itself.
Can it just be Angus? Can the spoiler thing just be you being like, hear me, Angus?
Begin the spoilers and put an echo on that. Thanks.
Of course, younger Angus. I will bless you with the spoilers intro.
Oh, Gandalf, I didn't see you here.
You sound surprisingly like Brody.
Okay, so okay,
Bro,
themes.
man, summarize the movie.
Summarize the movie. All right, bunch of kids end up getting detention for various reasons, all kind of unimportant. Their principal says they only have one life. They should kind of make it a good one, and that's
Classic inspiring
Classic
speech.
that's pretty much the
principle.
message of this film. If there is a message or a moral behind it, it's like you have one life. Do everything you can to be a good
I
person.
think it's if you can be the Rock, just be the Rock.
Yeah.
I think that it's
yeah,
like,
just
He didn't
stay.
see.
always be
He
yourself
didn't.
unless you can be the Rock. In which case, be the Rock.
Get sucked
Anyway,
into
we
the
digress.
interim detention. Find the Jumanji video game, which is set up earlier, of why it's no longer a board game. Get sucked into the video game. They all had to choose characters, and now they're those characters. Go through a number of levels to get a gem back to a statue.
And then, spoiler alert, he gets it back to the statue and everyone's happy.
And everyone's happy and
Everyone's changed their character to be
So-
better people.
So you've got your classic nerd kid who loves playing video games and he's
Yep.
scrawny and nerdish and like allergic to everything. And he picks the avatar of Doctor whatever. Can I
Yeah.
remember his name?
The Rock.
The Rock, Doctor the Rock.
Dr.
And
The Rock.
so when he gets sucked into the game, his avatar, the
Isn't
character
his
he looks
name like
is
Handsome something or Smolder?
it's
Bravestone.
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 Yeah.
that's
Bravestone. Yeah, Smolder. Yeah.
Yes,
He
Dr.
gets
Smolder
sucked into the game,
Bravestone.
becomes the Rock. Then you've got like the introvert shy girl, and she becomes the cool roundhouse Karen Gillan. And then you've got the ditzy teen that thinks she's like hot
Martha.
noise on her phone, and she becomes Jack Black. And then you've got
Fridge.
Fridge, the jock football player who becomes Kevin Hart. that's sort of what I liked about it, is that, yeah, they did do all of the stereotypes, but I think they found a fun way to give all the actors that we're used to seeing just play themselves in every movie, play almost the opposite to what they're used to playing.
And it seemed to me like the actors were having fun.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, you can tell on set there was good
You
chemistry.
could tell they were having fun.
I'm sort of worried that I'm going to get sick of Dwayne Johnson in movies, which frustrates me a bit, because he's really cool.
This has reinvigorated my feelings towards Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
The
I totally
last
agree.
few movies that Dwayne Johnson have done, I'm like, he's trying way too hard, kind of thing. But this one, because he's like completely different character, he's actually kind of flexed his acting chops a bit more.
Has anybody told Dwayne Johnson it's okay to say no to doing a movie? Because I feel like he does every movie. Just all of the movies that get given to him. I feel like he just says yes to every single movie that people are like, hey, will you be in my movie? And he's like, yeah.
I'm curious to hear what you didn't like about the film. We've talked about a lot of things that we've
A few things I didn't... Actually, there's a few things I didn't like.
I'm curious to hear about that.
Cane Dogs, you're up.
Straight up, I think you'll agree, weak villain.
Yeah.
Anybody remember the name? No, me either.
No. Snake Boy.
I think...
Vulture Man.
Vulture Man, the guy with bugs in his ears. I
Bug
think
dude.
I really would have liked, for anybody that remembers the original Jumanji, there was like the hunter, or like that safari guy. I would have loved for them to have brought him back. Other things I didn't like, I always dislike movies that tell me there's going to be levels.
Actually, speaking of levels, can I just jump right to the end?
Yeah.
So, right at the end, they get to shake the hands of the guy that started them off. They get dissolved, right? At the end.
Yeah.
Part of me was like, oh, there's a hidden boss level. Like, everyone's
That
going to
would
go.
have been great.
Except Dwayne Johnson. And that's the thing that I was kind of hoping for, was like, he doesn't shake hands or he doesn't get evaporated and then turns around and like the Jaguar becomes alive or something, and he's got to defeat the Jaguar
That'd be
or
great.
something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Boss would have been cool. Something like a giant,
Yeah,
Or even a better fight with, again, the villain.
I felt
where
the
nothing
ending
happened.
was a touch flat.
Things I didn't like.
Yeah.
I didn't like the bit with Karen Gillan's character where she had to do dance fighting.
Yeah, I didn't like
And
that.
she had to do it more than once. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Because the powers included fighting without the dance fighting.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to do a lot of things where it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, there was a conversation between Martha and Bethany where Martha was basically telling her to, like, own it. To, like, own who you are, own and don't worry about what other people think of you. Like, you can be the best and stuff like that. But then it kind of just kept coming down to that, like, oh, she's going to dance fighting.
Yeah.
I felt like that was, and it was kind of a weird, it was like a weird thing.
I think the thing that, now that you've touched on that, to the releasing of this movie, there was a lot of people sort of arcing up that they've made the main female lead, like it's like too sexy or like, you know.
Yeah, they have an excuse for it, but then after the excuse
But then they ruin it again.
It's just like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but she's still just in the jungle in like shorts
Well,
and a really small top, yeah.
Because they were like, why? Because a complaint was like, how come they've made her wear such short shorts and da 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 da. And you're right. In the beginning of that, they even touch on that, and she's like, this is so unpractical for a jungle. But they're right in that in video games, the female characters who play in video games usually are pretty skimpy. But what I didn't like,
They're literally saying, well, you know, video games are sexist, so we
Yeah, I
can-
know.
Yeah. It's like, oh, because it happens in video games,
Yeah.
then we can do it.
but
yeah.
I like that they gave that to a shy, introverted character. But then they absolutely like when she's trying to be sexy and it doesn't work. I really enjoyed that.
The float, the
And
floating.
when they made
machine,
her
messes
like
up
a
the
bit of an
float.
action hero, I really liked that they gave her that role. But then when they made it that she's only an action hero when she's doing sexy dancing, they
Yeah, like-
completely reversed it.
dance
Ruined
fighting,
it for them.
yeah.
They ruined
It
it.
just-
Yeah,
They kind of just missed the point they were trying to make.
they tried to make. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, you think we're going to be sexist and put her in a stereotype sexy role? We're totally not going to. We're going to make fun of that." And then they totally reversed it and made her do sexy dancing. I guess.
I would have preferred if Bethany as Jack Black walked up to them.
That would
and
have been
was-
great,
and,
right?
And I was like flirting with them, and they were like a bit confused or whatever.
I'm going to pose a question coming off of that. Best actor.
I think Jack Black, hands down. I think not.
Agreed.
Jack Black kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
Oddly
I was-
enough, was anybody else a bit weirded out that Jack Black was that good at being?
No, not weird. I was just like, yes, this is why I like Jack Black, because in everything I see him, either he makes me laugh or he makes me love him even more.
Well, see, it was a bit of a roller coaster for me because he was the one at the start where I was like, oh, it's an
It's
actor
just gonna be
trying
I thought
to...
I was
Right?
gonna hate him.
A bit Freaky
So it
Friday,
started-
where you can't take your brain out of
Yeah, so it
what you're seeing.
started off really rocky, but the more the movie goes, the better Jack Black gets.
Absolutely.
And because I came into the movie going like, oh,
Can't
I'm
really be bothered watching
worried
it.
about Jack Black. Like the rest of the cast is all right, but I feel like he might be out of his depth here. But
Yeah, and
absolutely nailed it.
Like, I legitimately, there were parts when I was like, he's doing a really good job. Like, I was like, none of the other actors quite hit that mark for me.
I bought all of them throughout the film, but I feel like Jack Black and Karen Gillan were the strongest.
Yeah. So I guess I'll jump to the end of how I thought this film would end. Because you have that character that was sucked into the game 20 years ago, right? And that was really reminiscent for me for the first Jumanji of Alan Parrish, Robin Williams' character, getting sucked in as a kid. And the thing is if anybody remembers that first movie, when he actually, at the beginning of the film, when he comes out of the game, he doesn't come out as a kid straight from whenever he was sucked into that game in the 80s, or whenever that film was...
Way earlier.
Whenever that film was set, he doesn't come out as a little boy at that age, does he? He
Yeah,
comes
well-
out as a grown man and all his family are dead, right?
Because it was
So-
in 95, so he would have been in like 70s or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
right? So I expected for this film to end, for those rules to still apply, considering that it is the Jumanji. So I was waiting for him to come out, and we've already seen the broken down house, and we've already seen the father that's old and bitter. And if you remember in that scene where Robin Williams come back, he runs through the house, he's like, Mom, Dad, it's me, and all of that sort of stuff. I absolutely loved if when they all came back into their own bodies, he also came back, and he was the same age, like as he was like in the 80s. But he, like, you know, they all go back to his house, and he sees it, and it's all like broken down, and the dad comes out, and the dad sees him, and there's like a heartfelt sort of breakdown where he sees
Beautiful
his kid.
reunion.
A beautiful reunion, but a little bit somber.
Mm.
I would have rather preferred that than the happy ending of, oh no, it spat me straight back out in the 80s.
Yeah.
I guess everybody except for those four don't know anything about Freak House or the kid that went missing, and it's changed nothing in the timeline. There was no butterfly effect. It's all cool. Don't worry
Yeah.
about that.
A couple of holes in the
Yeah, there's a
story
few
there,
plot
but-
holes there where it's like, oh no, it spat me back out in the 80s. Luckily, I've had no effect in the past 20 years. Like, I've done nothing with my life, so everything's the same for you guys. Don't worry about it.
Also, I'm now the owner of Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I invented Google. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me about that while we're in game.
I was a little bit disappointed at the lack of good video game references they could have made.
That was what I was trying to
Like,
say at the beginning. Yeah.
Because like even with the things with all the different levels, I would have loved it if they made a reference to like an underwater level, and they would have complained.
I did like the part at the beginning where they're like, oh, I think it's a cutscene. You know, he's reading a letter and then it cutscenes. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
totally game for this whole movie to have references like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they never touched on that
And
again
that's-
though.
that's
Yeah.
one thing
there's
that
there's no more cutscenes or anything
That's
like
it.
that. I was
And that's
expecting there
one
to be
gag that I thought they would do whenever the bad guy comes in and he has his little moment on screen of like, oh, go get them or something.
Yeah.
It would have been awesome for them to be like, did we just see the bad guy?
Why can we
Like,
see this?
yeah.
Or why
Yeah.
can we hear this
Did you-
going on? I do like that they touched on the backpack thing, where it's like they can just pull anything out of the backpack. It's like, what about bolt cutters?
I
It's
wish-
like backpack power. Like
I-
that was a good touch.
I wish they used it a little bit more though. 'Cause
Yeah.
they only really used it for bolt cutters.
Yeah, they should have brought out
And that
something.
was it.
They should have talked about the
Yeah.
fact that the bag didn't weigh anything.
'Cause
Or
it's-
nobody else should have been able to put their hand in the bag. Everybody should have been like, it's empty. And he should have been like, what? There's plenty of stuff in here.
Yeah.
Was there anything that happened in this movie that actually surprised you? Were you guys surprised by anything in this movie?
I was surprised by the very ending. I was
Yeah.
expecting that Alex.
Happily surprised. Were you happily surprised?
Yeah,
by
I was
anything that happened in
happily
this movie?
surprised because I was just totally expecting Alex to just come out in his bedroom. They go to the house and then he's in his bedroom and he kind of hugs his dad and then him and Bethany just get in a relationship.
I
That's
think-
exactly what I was expecting from that to like the ending of the film is for them to okay now they're a group of 5 friends, but then for Alex to have come out of the video game 20 years earlier and just kind of changed history a little bit, and now he's
But
grown
somehow
up
also didn't.
with like married with kids. And he like remembers them, and he named like his first child after Bethany
Yeah.
because she saved his life. I was definitely surprised by that.
Hey, were you surprised by anything in this, Angus?
Not
I can't
not
say I was.
overly surprised. There were a few things that I didn't expect or that I wanted to go differently, but I don't think it was like a
There was-
what?
But the thing
kind
is,
of
like,
kind of a moment.
a lot of things that happen in it, I called them as I saw them, but it's like they expected that you wouldn't. Like, for instance, the boomerang. The minute he was like, oh, boomerang, I'm like, he's going to throw it and he's going to miss. And it'll be like,
and
oh,
it's
you
gonna
missed.
Come back, yeah.
And it'll come back. And the movie played it as if people wouldn't be expecting that. And the minute I saw a boomerang, I'm like, oh, he's going to throw it and miss, and then it'll come back. Or when the minute he was like, oh, there's tattoos on my arm, I'm like, oh, they're lives. And then
Yeah.
it took him till like midway through the movie to be like, wait, these are lives. And I was like, you're a gamer, dude. You should have picked up on that the minute you saw him on your arm. You should have figured that out.
Yeah.
I think something I didn't like is that kid has only lost 2 lives. That kid that's supposedly been in the game for 20 years has only lost 2 lives, and yet he found out he's allergic to mosquitoes. How did he make it that long without being bitten by a mosquito?
Yeah, his weakness is mosquitoes. That is, it's such a thing where it's like we want this character to die at this point, so Bethany and this character Bethany and Alex have this kind of connection.
Yeah.
How can we kill him? Oh, he dies from mosquitoes.
He's got
and
a
he's never been
gluten
bitten by a
reaction.
mosquito before.
He's
Can
gonna
I-
be gluten free, and he accidentally ate a sandwich.
Yeah.
It's such a
I hated the
ridiculous.
cake joke.
Yeah, the
I-
cake.
the only-
the cake
I thought
cake
that
thing
cake
was a bit
joke.
rough.
The only reason I thought that was in there is because I thought later in the movie he's gonna be like attacked by the bad guy or taken hostage, and I'm like, oh, there's gonna be a moment where he eats cake and blows himself up to kill the bad guy. Like I was like, that's because he eats the cake and he explodes. He doesn't just like shrivel up; he explodes. And I was like, oh, the only reason they're doing that is now we know that there's a human bomb. But they didn't touch it. They didn't. I was like, so why is that in there? They didn't use it.
I saw the cake thing exactly as the mosquito thing, whereas like we want them to all get down to 1 life by the end.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
how can we get them from 3 down to 1? Oh, let's just make
I think there's
Kevin
much
Hart
better
just
ways
like
to do it as
die
well.
from eating a piece of cake.
I think, yeah, maybe
If
I
they-
just think I wanted more depth to this film because the first one, as I said, it has dark elements that as a kid you don't notice, but as an adult you think about it and you're like, oh. And for me, now being an adult watching this movie, nothing in this made me go, oh.
Can I just
The only thing that-
can I
yeah.
just segue from that being like adults notice it but kids don't? I want to touch on the dick jokes.
And I
Because
usually large amount of dick jokes from Jack
I
Black.
knew, yeah, dick jokes, especially in like me and Brody, we went to the same cinema.
Yeah.
The demographic was mums with their kids, right?
Very mixed.
Yeah, it
Right?
very, very much so. Yeah,
And like, I mean, there was a peeing joke, like
That's fine.
Bethany's character's like she's peeing, like that's funny, kids can get around it. There was an erection joke.
Yeah.
Like,
I found that to be really weird. As
Yeah.
well.
that was odd.
I thought that was
Very
that
rarely
was
in a
step
video
too
game
side.
do I play a character that has an erection.
But it's like it's one of those things where you're like, oh, they put it in there for the adults, but it was blatantly obvious.
Yeah,
How-
it wasn't subtle. References to the first Jumanji film.
Yes.
There's the board game at the very beginning, washing up on the beach.
I liked that. I thought they weren't gonna. I was skeptical to see how many references they'd be game to make. I liked it.
It transforms into
I liked that too.
a video game to show that it's like this magical thing.
It's a
that
sentient thing.
It will
Yeah.
continue to evolve.
Mm.
I like it. Sets itself up for the next generation as well. Another 20 years, we'll get a VR Jumanji, like a virtual reality Jumanji game or something like that.
Something like
Or
yeah.
whatever it is in the next 20 odd years. I like that.
You don't know.
Oh no, I know. I'm just not going to spoil it for
Hold on,
listeners.
I'll ask future Angus.
What, you gonna ask a question?
Are you saying that in 20 years you're going to go back to this podcast and
No,
edit
just
it in?
future Angus who's editing it right now.
Oh,
He's
so
in the future.
you're
He'll
hoping
know.
that next week or
He'll-
tonight
he'll-
or tomorrow he'll be in the know of what's
Yeah.
going on 20 years from now.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job, Angus. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Future Angus or this Angus?
Yeah, future.
Present,
Yeah, you're
present
doing-
Angus.
You're
Shit.
doing your shit house,
Yeah, you're
mate.
horrible.
Future is probably a great bloke.
Absolutely
You've got a
terrible.
lot of room to grow.
Well, yeah. There's only up for future Angus.
Yeah, but future Angus, yeah, he's my mate.
You could get hit by a bus tomorrow, mate. You don't know.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Future Angus.
The guy's name carved into the
Alan Parrish, that was cool.
that bit.
Yeah.
The zooms out on the map and it's the same design
Same design.
as
as
the,
the board game.
original board game.
That's
Really?
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know if any actors were from the first one.
No.
I didn't notice anyone.
Not that I saw. Yeah. Final thoughts, I think.
Final thoughts. It was good.
On the movie, specifically.
On Jumanji the movie, it was good. It could have been better with maybe more references, is like the general consensus that we're
Yeah.
getting at. And it didn't have to be called Jumanji.
Not specifically.
But in the end, a good movie.
A good
and
movie,
worth-
yeah.
Solid
worth
7,
seeing
solid
once.
7.5.
And for a family demographic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bring-
I think...
Bring your kids along. If you don't have kids, hurry up. Get some.
Be prepared to... Be prepared
That's
to...
the message we want to send out.
Be prepared to explain about erections.
That's true. Don't take any kids under.
Take your 12-year-olds.
Yeah, take your 12. If
No.
they're going through that at the moment, Jack Black can explain it all to them.
Yeah, take anyone. It's
Um,
gonna,
I
yeah.
would love Jack Black to explain puberty to my kids.
okay, so you asked me this, would I see it again? Would you guys see it again?
In a couple of years, if it's on like
Yeah, like if
On-
it was on Netflix or something
yeah,
like
on
that.
Netflix or something. Yeah.
I was gonna say if it's on TV, but I don't watch TV
Yeah, I don't watch
anymore.
TV.
Does anybody watch TV? No, me either.
Nah.
Yeah.
Realistically, no. I don't think I'll ever watch
I don't
it
think
again.
I need to watch it
think
again.
I'll ever watch it again.
It was good. It was
If
good
a friend
fun.
invited me to see it, if one of my friends is like, "Hey, I'm seeing
Yeah.
this. Do you want to come?" I
Then-
probably would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go
I'd
out of
say
my
I've
way.
got better things to do in my life.
Like editing this.
Like editing this.
Like editing this.
this
And not being hit by
mess.
buses.
This mess of a podcast.
Yeah.
I think even if you go on with even if you go on expecting this movie to be good, you won't be disappointed, but it still won't be great.
Go in expecting it to be bad, and you'll be pleasantly surprised.
It's a very beautiful film in the jungle, and
Yeah, it is
was-
a
was-
good looking film.
and it was okay.
Do you actually want to do a signing off? Do you want to do a signing off? We
I haven't
do a
thought of
signing
one.
off.
We should.
This is Angus Strachan signing off for Film Slice Podcast.
Nah, shit ass.
That's it. That's it. Thanks for listening to the Film Slice Podcast. To keep up to date with the latest, follow us on Twitter at film_slice_pod and let us know what your thoughts about the latest movies are, because you're important to us and stuff.